Welcome to the Becoming an Intentional course by the Visionary Parents Academy. In this course, you are going to learn all about becoming an intentional parent, what it means, the misconceptions, and all of that. Before we go into the course properly, let me ask you, when you hear intentional parenting, what comes to your mind? What comes to your mind? Now, while you are thinking about what comes to your mind, I'd like you to grab your writing materials, your pen, your paper, and of course, a glass of water. This course is not going to be long. It's going to take about 10 to 20 minutes, 15 or thereabout. So prepare to take notes and most importantly, take action. If you have followed me long enough, you know that I am big on taking action. If you don't take action, your time here is a waste. My time here is a waste. The notes you are taking and everything is a waste. So prepare to take action. Now, one of the first things you want to do is to tell yourself, I will take action. So get your writing materials and then write. Start by writing, I am going to take action. So fantastic. I already have my screen sharing. So we just go straight into it. Let me ask you, what are some of the misconceptions you have heard about intentional parenting? Yes, many people say, oh, it's being permissive, it's permissiveness. Some say it's spoiling your children, indulging them, or handling over authority to them. Is that what you've heard before? Nah, that is not intentional parenting. Intentional parenting is you as a parent having clarity, having purpose, being deliberate in your actions, building structures, applying consistency, staying aware of your influence, and aligning your daily actions with the kind of child you are raising. When it comes to intentional parenting, from the word intentional, is you are intentional about what you are doing. So we are talking about intentional parenting. You are intentional about how you are raising your children. You are deliberate. You are not winging it. It's not junk in, junk out. You know exactly what you are doing. You know what you are doing because you know the results you want to get. Now, because of the results you want to get, you are not winging it. You are not guessing. You are putting in the work that will give you the result you desire. Let me give you a quick story. When I finished my university or when I was in my final year or thereabouts, my dad said to me, of all my children, you are very, let me use the word bookie, you read a lot. So when I finish when I get my retirement pension, all of that, I'm going to send you abroad to further your master's. And before my dad could even finish saying that, my mom had come in from somewhere and she had said, no, she will go to her, when she gets to her husband's house, her husband will do that. And that was it. The matter was never pursued. And I did not even pursue it myself. If probably I had insisted, I probably would have gotten the opportunity. I didn't insist. This is going to be a conversation for another day entirely. So that was how the whole topic was dead on arrival. Fast forward to a couple of days, months, years later, I was married. My sisters, siblings were all married. One day, my mom and I were talking, and she said something like, how come of all my children, none is even abroad? I'm from Edo State, and if you know about the Edo people, you know that being abroad is something that is big for them, something they pride themselves in, something they see as an achievement. And my mom said, how come none of my children, I don't have anyone abroad? And that day, I remembered how my daddy wanted or said he was going to use his pension money to send me abroad, and how my mom vehemently stood against it. Now, and I was wondering in my head, you knew you wanted at least one of your children to be abroad. You knew you wanted a child of yours to be abroad, and you didn't do anything about it. When opportunity came for something to be done about it, you were against it, and yet it was your desire. Now, this is what we talk about when we say intentional parenting. There is a vision you have in your head. There's a desire you have in your head. There is a way you want your children to turn out. So what do? Intentional parenting is you not winging it. You not hoping that it will automatically be like that because you desire it. Intentional parenting is you now making the effort, putting in the work that will make it turn out the way you want it to turn out. That is intentional parenting. So let me ask you, what is your vision as a parent? Yeah. How do you desire your child to turn out? What kind of child do you desire to raise? Have you ever thought of this and also ask yourself what you need to raise them? My mom wanted to have kids abroad. So what did she need to do? She needed to have found a way for them to go abroad, go and study, especially go abroad to study because that was her desire. But she didn't do that. She relied on faith. She winged it, hoping that it will come to pass. Now, when it comes to intentional parenting, you know exactly what you want and you put in the work to get there. Have you ever thought of this and also ask yourself what you need to raise them? Look around you. Very many adults who are unfulfilled, in jail, self-sabotaging, or making poor choices were raised with good intentions. But the truth is, intentions don't yield results. Actions do. I've shared one story. Let me share another one. Practical story we see every day. We see people, who end up in jail. We see adults who are making poor choices. Ask their parents. That was never their desire for their children. But people end up doing that. What is the matter? It is because along the line, something happened. Something happened. There is a story we see this thing happen every time. Issue of domestic violence. In fact, in the Visionary Parent Academy, I also share this. You see people happen every day. Oh, domestic violence. One is dead, one is in jail, and things like that. Let's use this popular musician, Osinachi, as an example. I always say to parents that, see, is one thing, nobody wants to raise a child who ends up in jail. Nobody wants to raise a child who self-sabotages. Nobody wants to raise a child who is not fulfilled, who is not resilient, who break down in the face of issues. Nobody wants that. However, it is not just about your desire. It's the action you are taking, you are putting in place. So what action are you putting in place? Because at the end of the day, these children will not raise themselves. And the seed we plant in them from when they are small will go a long way to shape the adults they will become. I've shared my story. My mom wanted us to be abroad, at least one or two of her children to be abroad. But did she make any effort? No, she was winging it. Now, this is what very many parents do. We are winging it. I was talking about domestic violence. I always say, like I shared this morning in the Visionary Parent Academy, it is one thing to say, no, I don't ever want to raise children who end up in jail. If you as a parent, you are constantly being abusive to your spouse, what do you think will happen? Your children are learning. Even though you don't want your child to domestically abuse the spouse, even though you don't want them to end in jail or one of them to be killed in the course of marriage, when you are constantly abusing your child, you are already modeling something to them. You are raising them. Remember, you have a dream, you have a desire. However, you are not intentional about it. So they learn from you, and when they get married, go to their spouses, be with their spouses, violence happen, and they end up in jail. It is because you were not intentional in your raising your children. So intentional parenting simply means knowing exactly what you want and making deliberate efforts, putting in the work, raising children who will turn out that way. That is intentional parenting. It's not about being permissive. It's not about spoiling your child. It's not about, what's the other one, indulging your child or relinquishing your authority to them. No, it's about knowing exactly what you want and deliberately putting in the work to get what you want. Intentional parenting is like living backward, I always say. When I mean living backward, you have your vision, then you are walking step by step, step by step, step by step, back from your vision, from what you want to see. You want to raise responsible children. You want to raise self-disciplined children. You want to raise children with integrity. You want to raise children with empathy. You want to raise entrepreneurs. You want to raise children who just don't perform for the society, who are purpose-driven. Then you realize these things and you begin now to put in the work that will help you raise those children. So I ask you again, let's do a quick reflection. What kind of child do you want to raise? So in your writing material, you are going to write it there, the kind of child you want to raise. Describe it. The adult you want your child to be. Describe it. Your child will face situations tomorrow. They'll face events. They'll be distracted, temptations. How do you want your child to respond in the face of all of that? You are intentionally planting seeds, nurturing them, helping them build capacity for them to respond in that way when the time comes. Now, we are going into our reflection. Number one, I said, what kind of child do you desire to raise? So let's go into our reflection. Take a moment, be honest, no pressure, no perfection. You are having this conversation with yourself. Nobody is going to, you don't have to present it to anybody. So take your time and be super honest with what you are doing. Firstly, clarity check. Can I clearly describe the kind of child I am raising without using vague words like good or better? Yes. What kind of child are you raising? We are not saying I want to raise a good child. No. Good, what does good mean to you? Because good is relative. What does good mean to you? You need to describe it. As an intentional parent, you must know the type of child you want to raise. Have I defined the specific values and behaviors I want to see in my child? Or am I just hoping my child will turn out well? As an intentional parent, you must know exactly what you want. The type of child you want to raise, the characters you want to see in your child, the values you want your child to uphold. You must have an idea, clarity of the kind of child you want. You must have it spelled out. So as an intentional parent, you must have this. Let me give you an example. So I have someone who is close to me, and she has had children she pushes them in school. Like she has a child who is 14 years, and she's in how old now? She's in, I think, SS3 or so. Even though she's not going to be able to sit for external exams, but the child is there. Now, these parents, one day we're talking, and she said, I just want my children to graduate on time and get jobs. So she's pushing them along that line. All she thinks about is her children getting jobs. So because she wants her children to get jobs, so she's particular about the courses they study, about the age they are going into school, so that when they now reach the labor market, they are not told, you are too old for this position. That's because her mind is they will get job. There are other parents. There's another parent I know. She wants her children to be entrepreneurs. She doesn't believe in having the children work for someone or work for the government or work for any institution. She believes in the children having skills and becoming entrepreneurs. She believes that the children, they were created to make impacts. They were created for a purpose. And so she desires to have children who will go out there and actually be creative, be innovative, that is what she wants. Guess what? This particular parent, she's not in the business of pushing her children through schools. Rather, what she does is make sure they learn skills along the line. While the other one, every holiday, get lesson teacher, upgrade your academic skills and get better. The other one is every holiday, learn skills, diversify, just know any skill you can learn. Who knows? At the end of the day, you may be interested in taking one or two further. And if you choose not to, you want to work, it's an added advantage. So you see, these two parents, they have different desires for their children. So I'm asking you, have you gotten this clarity? Have you gotten this clarity? Do you know the values your children should uphold? For these two parents, the values their children should uphold are two different values. A lot of them will be different. One will be so book-oriented. The other one will be so creativity, taking initiative, and all of that. So what values do you want your children to uphold? Now, apart from the future, let's even bring it down to now. What values do you want your children to have, to be seen in your children? As you interact every day, as they go through life, what values do you want them to uphold? You as a parent, you definitely need to have this. Now, remember that this Becoming an Intentional Parent is brought to you by the Visionary Parent Academy. If you don't know the values you want your children to uphold, if you don't have clarity yet, don't worry. If you need a guide, someone to help you through this journey, what you want to do is to send a message to us in the Visionary Parent Academy, and we are going to help you every step of the way. You shouldn't do parenting alone. It takes a community. It takes a village. Here is our number that you can reach. Let's go. You can send a WhatsApp message to. So we are still talking about becoming an intentional parent. And I asked you a while ago, do you have clarity? The next question I want to ask you is, does your home have clear routine and expectations? Are there systems and supports that support the behavior you want to see, or you are mostly correcting your child in the moment? Now, this is what we mean by intentional parenting. It simply means that you know exactly what you want. You have structures and systems in place that will help you achieve that. You are not winging it. You don't wait for your child to misbehave, behave, or something to happen for you to jump in. You are proactive. You plan ahead. You plan down. Back to the story of my mom. You wanted to have kids abroad. You make your plans down. As soon as they finish secondary school, as soon as they finish university, they go abroad for their masters. They go abroad and study. You plan down. You create a family system. Oh, I don't have all the money now. Let me start putting some money into an investment scheme or something, so that when the time comes, I can just go there, pull out the money, and my children will go abroad because that's what I desire. Those are systems. You want to raise children who have integrity. Do you have a family system that supports it? You want to raise children who are responsible. Does your family system support it? You have to raise children. You want to raise children who take initiative. Do you have structures and systems that help you build all these things? Like I always say, it is not just I want my children to have integrity. Your family system, your family atmosphere has to support it. And again, if you don't know how to create family system and structures that will help you, that will support the child you want to see, the child you are raising, you can send a message to us, the Visionary Parent Academy, and we are going to help you all the way. Create your family system, the structures, everything you need to that will support the child you are raising. And then you will stop reacting on the moment. Let's go. Section 3, consistency check. Do I enforce rules the same way every time? Or do my responses depend on my mood, stress, or environment? Does my child know what to expect from me? Now, this is where we talk about being emotionally intelligent. You cannot be an intentional parent without being emotionally intelligent, because you see, the structures and systems you create in your home, they are not structures and systems if they are not consistent. Consistency is how they become a part of your child. Consistency is how your child learns. Consistency is how you build your child. So if you are not consistent, I tell you, you are not able to. If you are not consistent, you are not able to actually raise the child you have. So you must learn to be consistent. Again, if you cannot achieve this, please send us a message. If you struggle with consistency, send us a message in the Visionary Parent Academy, and we are going to help you all the way. Now, let's go. Emotional awareness. I've talked about emotional intelligence. Our emotions always come in the way. Your emotions always come in the way. Our emotions are the biggest threat we have when it comes to parenting. So, how often do you react emotionally without thinking or before thinking? Do you shout, threaten, or overreact? After reacting, do you reflect or you justify it? These are some of the things intentional parents don't do. As an intentional parent, you are aware of your emotions. You know how they come in the way of your best parenting interest. And so you are not winging, you are not just jumping, you are not reacting based on emotions. You actually know that every response of yours is shaping your child. Now, because you have a vision, you know the kind of child you want to make sure that you are responding in such a manner that shapes your child towards your vision. I think I shared this example in the Visionary Parent Academy one time. I said, imagine you have a shop. I said, it's not what happens to you, what happens to your child that actually shapes them. It is how you respond to it that shapes them. Now, imagine you have a shop and someone comes to buy something and they overgive your child change. And then your child takes it and your child comes to you and says, oh, mom, that uncle came to buy something today and he gave me extra. He forgot his change. He didn't know he had change. How will you respond to it? As a parent, the way you respond to it will actually shape your child. If you say, oh, no, that's not right, so go and give it to the uncle, it simply means that you are talking about integrity. If you now say, oh, is our win that the uncle lost, it simply means that you are actually nurturing seeds of not integrity in your child. I'm trying to get the right words to put. It's actually because that it is not the child taking the change now that is a big deal. It's how you are responding to it or how you have responded to it that is a big deal. Now, when it comes to emotions, our emotions can always jump in the way. When you are happy, you allow your child. When you are angry, you don't allow them. That is inconsistency. That is the emotions jumping in the way. Now, this is why I say you cannot be an intentional parent without being in charge of your emotions. And if you struggle with your emotions, send a message to us in the Visionary Parent Academy. We have a course on becoming an emotional intelligent parent. It is a whole month course. You just go there, you take it day after day, day by day. And at the end of the day, I tell you, if you take action, your emotions are going to be in a very good place. You can also join the academy where for the entire year you are with us in the academy, you are learning, unlearning, you are growing, you are being held accountable for your journey. So let's go. Section 5. Do my daily actions match what I say I want for my child? Am I modeling the behavior I expect, or am I asking for what I am not practicing? Children learn a lot by watching. They learn a lot by seeing us do things. So as an intentional parent, one of the things you want to do is to make sure that you are doing what you expect your child to do. You are constantly modeling it. Intentional parents, they model what they want their children to. You can't hold your child accountable for what you are not capable of doing. The other day I was telling a parent that my clothes were on the line and my kids brought them in, they put them on my bed. Trust me, when I got to the bed, I did not feel like putting my clothes in my wardrobe. I felt tired because I needed hangers to hang them. I just wanted to dump them in my closet. But I remember dumping them in my closet will contradict what I've always taught my children. What you can do today, why push it to tomorrow? Tomorrow is not sure. So as long as you can do it today, get to it and do it, you know? So I remember that I had to literally drag myself to do it. So the point is, you cannot hold your child accountable for what you are not capable of. So every intentional parent models what they want to see. So are you modeling what you want to see? Are you modeling it? Force versus build, check. One of the things I always say parents is, if you have a vision and you want to have a vision for your child, one of the things you want to do is to be able to convince your child that this is the path to follow. And forcing your child is not a way. Now you force your child when you hit, when you yell, when you threaten, when you deny privileges, when you manipulate, when you gaslight, when you blackmail. These are ways you force your children. So as an intentional parent, you don't force. You already have structures and systems in place that are built for you, so you are not forcing. So let me ask you, do you find yourself constantly telling, warning, or shouting? Are you trying to force behavior instead of building systems? Do you expect change without changing the environment? Because sometimes the change needs to come from the environment. And as a parent, you are part of the environment. So what is it? Intentional parents understand that they don't force. What they do is they build. Again, If you know you're a parent, all you've ever done is force your child, force. Don't worry. Just send a message to us in the Visionary Parents Academy. We are going to take you through a journey of how to begin to nurture conviction, how to begin to reach the heart of your child, how to begin to build systems, and then you will not need to force. Let's go. Skill building check. When your child misbehaves, what do? Do you ask what skill is missing, or do you just correct and move on? Are you teaching your child how to behave, or you're just demanding behavior? Now, here's the truth. Behavior is always a communication. An intentional parent knows that behavior is a communication. So when your child misbehaves, you are going to pause and ask yourself, what is the message this behavior is passing to me? When you understand the message the behavior is passing to you, it is that message you are going to run with. Sometimes it can be, oh, lack of skills. I don't yet know how to do it. I have not had enough experience to be able to deliver on this expectation. Sometimes it could be, okay, you as a parent, you are telling me one thing, you are doing another thing. Like the story I gave of a woman having a shop, or a parent having a shop. Now imagine that kind of a parent. You've told your child, oh, he's our luck. He forgot his chain, he's our luck. And you demand from your child every single time to not to tell lies to you. You are not realistic. You are not being realistic. So your child lying to you could be a message that, okay, mommy, you too lie. So I'm learning from you that lying is okay. So that could be the message. So when your child behaves, you have to ask yourself, what message is this my child sending? It can be, oh, I'm being pressured by peer. My peer pressure, my peers are pressuring me to do something. It can be, oh, I want to be like other people. I want to be like my friends. It can be, I'm tired. It can be, I feel lazy. It can be, I'm not motivated enough. It can just be anything. So when your child misbehaves or acts, one of the first things you want to do as a parent is to pause and ask yourself, why is my child acting this way? Every intentional parent does that. How patient are you? Section 8, patience check. How patient are you? In the journey of intentional parenting, you need patience. For that child who struggles with skills, you need patience. For that child who tries to break rules, you need patience. For that child who pushes your button, you need patience. For you, a parent, teaching your child, you need patience. So how patient are you? The intentional parents, every intentional parent knows that they don't have to demand meeting expectations now. They know that even for themselves, they give themselves grace. Why? Because they know that they have been coming from a long distance. How we're raised, a lot of things are mindset that we had growing up. After living 20 years, 30 years, you just can't change from today till tomorrow, So intentional parents, they give themselves grace. So how patient are you? And they also give their children grace because they know that nothing is automatic. It will take time. So how patient are you? Do you expect your child to get it quickly? Do you get frustrated when change is slow? Do you abandon systems too early? Some parents, they say, okay, they're talking about structure and system. Let me also create mine. Then after first attempt, second attempt, I beg, this thing doesn't work. It is why very many people will say intentional parenting doesn't work. I beg, leave that thing, doesn't work. Why? Because because they know that because they are not patient enough. Consistency is how you get results. So are you consistent? Are you patient? Environment check. Every intentional parent understands the role of environment in raising children. No matter the child you want to raise, your environment is part of it. Everyone in your house, your neighborhood, your television, your atmosphere, your environment plays a major role in how your child is turning out and how your child will turn out. So as an intentional parent, your environment must align with what you expect. Your environment must align with your vision. So let me ask you, does your environment align? Who and what is influencing your child daily? Are you actively shaping their environment, or you are leaving it to chance? We all desire to raise. One of the things I always say to parents is that No parent ever wants something bad for the child. Now, it is why in the first place you hit your child. When your child, maybe your child steals, you beat your child. When your child tells lies, you beat your child. Why? You don't want your child to grow up a liar. You don't want your child to grow up a thief and end up in jail. It is why you hit your child in the first place. So whether you have a vision or not, you have a vision. Whether you have your vision crafted, drafted, and placed in front of where you can see it daily or not, you have a vision. It is your vision that propel you to do the things you do. So certainly you have a vision. Every parent has a vision. What matters is not having the vision, is actually working intentionally towards the vision. So your environment, is it against you or for you? Does it reinforce the values and systems you already have, or is actually fighting against them? So every intentional parent understands the role of environment in raising children, and they are very intentional about the environment they are creating. Personal growth check. We all want our children to succeed. We want them to do well. One of the things we do is we want to ask ourselves is, are we succeeding? I asked this question some time ago, and I always ask it is a question that I need to answer. Because we always want our children to come first in class. I want you to be first in class. If our children don't come first in class, it's a problem. So let me ask you this question now. If you are placed, okay, if everyone, people in your category, people doing what you are doing, right? If you are placed with them, I'll be placed by them on a scale, will you come at top? Will you come at first? I don't know how to explain it. I'm struggling with the right words. People who are doing what you are doing, because we all want our children to come at top. So now you place yourself with people who are doing the same thing that you do. Will you come at top? If you are going to give positions like they give your children position in class, will you come at top? If you don't come out top, then so what right have you to demand your child coming out top? So every intentional parent know that our success inspires our children. We are their role models. We live an example for them. Our success can be a legacy for them. It can be a pattern for them. So you want to succeed. You want to grow yourself and succeed so that you can create a pattern your children will follow. So let me ask you, are you actively working on yourself as a parent? Are you learning, reflecting, and improving as a parent? Or you are parenting the same way, expecting different results? If you want better results, you must be better yourself. You must work on yourself. You must grow. In your parenting, you must grow. In your spiritual life, you must grow. In your career, you must grow. You must not be static and expect success from your children. You must model it. So personal growth. So every intentional parent or an intentional parent understands the role of personal growth in parenting. Let's go. Okay. Final confronting questions. Sit with these. Don't rush. Am I parenting by design or by default? By design simply means you are designing your parenting path. You have your vision. One of the things I always do with my teenagers is that they have their vision, and even parents, you have your vision, then your vision has a ladder. Your vision is like the destination, somewhere there. Then it has a ladder, the ladder that takes you to your vision. So you are designing your parenting. You know exactly what you are doing, where you are going, and what will take you there. So are you parenting by design or by default? By default is how we're raised. Oh, our parents did this, so what's the big deal? I'm doing it. This morning I was sharing the visionary parent that we always say our parent did this, so what's the big deal? I'm doing it. One of the things we don't realize is that very many parents, they did what was available. They did what was handed down to them. There were no resources to improve on. There were no parenting workshops. There were no seminars. There were nothing, no internet, nothing. So, it was just like, okay, what was handed to them, they kept carrying it on and on. That was it. So today, you know better. We are trying to break a lot of circles. So you cannot come and say, oh, my parent did it, so I'm doing it. You doing what your parent did is you parenting by default. Default. You are not ready to reset yourself. You are not ready to reset yourself and do better. Intentional parents, they reset and they do better. If you do not know how to do better, feel free to reach us in the Visionary Parents Academy, and we are going to help you we are going to help you with knowledge, with information, with accountability to help you do better. Am I building my child, or I'm just reacting to them? Like I said, every time you respond to your child, you are shaping them. So if you respond to them, you shape them, you plant a seed, you are shaping who they'll become, what they'll become, and all of that. So when you react negatively and you don't want your child to turn out negatively, you have reacted. That is what matters. It's not what your child has done, it's how you react to what your child has done. Your child will remember how you react years to come. But you see what they did, they may not even remember what they did wrong, but they will remember how you responded to them. And your response is actually shaping your child. Your response can either build your child or break your child. So let me ask you, are you building your child or breaking your child? I always share the story of how I grew up with my grandma, and I attempted starting a business. But the way I got the money was not something I was proud of, or I should be proud of. And my grandma scarred me that till tomorrow, I don't, for a long time rather, not till tomorrow, for a long time rather, business, I fear doing business. I've had different business ideas, different opportunities. I just couldn't see them through. So if you're in the Visionary Parent Academy, you definitely know this story. I couldn't see them through. It was one of the days I was on learning, I realized the root cause of why, when it comes to business, it is a lot of struggle for me. So your reaction to your child will either build your child or break your child. Remember, your child is sending a message. Their behaviors are always sending a message. It is why you need to understand the message and take and work on the message and not just assume. If your child continues exactly this, the path, the way you are raising your child, all your responses, all the things you are sowing in your child, if your child continues on that path, how will your child end up? You need to sit with these questions as a parent. Sit with them and answer them if you want to become an intentional parent. Now, as an intentional parent, there are some skills you will need to succeed in your parenting: emotional regulation, self-awareness, communication, consistency, building structure, patience, teaching ability for you to teach your child, understand how to teach your child, discipline, how to discipline your child effectively, observation, how to observe your child. Your child's behavior is a communication. If you don't know how to observe, you will not know what your child's behavior is communicating. Alignment. This is a super skill you need, because every reaction of yours, every response of yours has to align with what you have in your vision. Now, these are some of the skills you need to parent intentionally. And again, if you want help learning all these skills, send a message to us in the Visionary Parents Academy. We have our flyer here. We have our number here. Send a message to us, and I tell you, we are going to help you, take you through this journey. So please send a message to us, and we are ready to help you. Now, parenting is hard. The times are hard. And one of the things you want to do as a parent is to make sure you are super, super intentional. And to be intentional, you may not have all the knowledge. You may not have all the skills. So I will encourage you, one, send a message to us. And two, if you feel okay, you don't want to pay for parenting knowledge or skills, or you are not financially free to pay, you can make sure you take advantage of resources. For example, you are watching this thing on the YouTube channel. What do you want to do? You want to subscribe, you want to like, you want to share, you want to stick to this channel, because we have a lot of resources that are going to benefit you. However, when you come to the academy, it is where we hold you accountable, where you hear personal experiences, personal stories that I may not be able to share here because of public, but I can share with my community member. It is where I share my daily struggles as a parent, my daily wins as a parent, where you will get, where you get information, knowledge, and everything, and the confidence to actually say, okay, let me do this the right way. So send us a message and we'll tell you how to join the Visionary Parents Academy. We also have a lot of courses you can take. We have the Becoming an Emotionally Intelligent Parent course that you can take for 30 whole days. You will sit by yourself and actually be going through the course one day after another. It's even 32 days. You have a bonus going through the course one day after another. And guess what? If you take that course, you can also just send me a message just one day in the month. Send me a message and you get your struggles. You send a message to ask questions. You are going to get answers to your questions. So thank you for joining this course, for taking this course. I hope to see you in another course and in the Visionary Parents Academy. Have a beautiful parenting life.